What's going on, my little bundle of chestnuts and wolves? It's your girl, Kate Winchester here with Kate and Wolfie, and today I wanted to share a scary story that actually happened to me, and it wasn't even just me. I do have some witnesses, and as you can tell from the GIF, it had something to do with demons, and I am Christian, so this just goes to prove that you need Jesus in your life. I am not going to shove religion down your throat. I'm not one of those Christians, but I can swear that what I experienced that night was absolutely terrifying, and I can't find a scientific explanation for it, and I just know that it's gotta be like. So I was hanging out with my, at the time, boyfriend, and we were at his house. I was doing his little sister's makeup, and we were talking about our ghost experiences, and the conversation turned to how they had a scary clown doll that I guess was possessed. Like, they were telling stories about how it would not be in the same place that they left it. Like, it would move places. They would wake up to hear singing in the middle of the night, and they would go downstairs and they would not hear it anymore once they started looking at the clown doll, and they would just feel very angry whenever they were around the doll. So I guess their final straw one night was oh my god, I can't even talk about this without getting chills because I haven't talked about it since the night after, but apparently their final straw was when they saw the creepy clown doll sitting on their chest. They both experienced that. Like, they obviously both slept in different rooms. So it happened on the same night, and yeah, they woke up, both of them woke up with it sitting on their chest. So they burned it. And then they broke it. So like they broke it, and then they burned all the pieces. And they were telling us that, but as soon as they started telling it, I heard like a twig snap, and I thought that it was just my imagination because, like, you know, we were just talking about it, and then a twig snapped. And we were thinking, oh, maybe it's just their dad, you know, like maybe it's just their dad chilling, you know. But we found out that he was inside the whole entire time, and we were the only ones that were out there. And he does have cats, but they were all inside at the time, so there is no way in hell that a twig could have snapped when we were all sitting right there. So we all went up to the fire pit where there were still some of the pieces, and the anger started happening. And I say started happening because I wasn't angry when we were telling this story. I was more amused than anything, which I think is kind of what triggered it. I was kind of amused because I was thinking, wow, like, why would something want to terrorize this family that bad, you know? And I started, like, kind of laughing at the idea. Like, not out loud, obviously, but yeah, but I started getting very angry when we walked up to the fire pit. I just didn't know why. I was just mad at my boyfriend, and I don't know how to explain it, but I was just mad all of a sudden. Then we went out to the front. We went out to the front yard because it was hot in the inside, but we still wanted to hang out outside. And we got out there, and the lights to the neighbor's house was going crazy. like not the inside of the house, but like, you know how when you look at a house, they have like a porch light? Their porch lights were like flickering. It was like straight out of a horror movie. And when I say flickering, I don't mean like on for like 2 seconds and then off. I mean like legit going on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. Like they were just going like crazy. And I basically told it to fuck off. I was just kind of like, and this is what you should never do. Out of all of my years experiencing paranormal activity, I'd have to say that this was the most terrifying, and I've seen some pretty scary stuff. But no, this was like really bad. It got to the point where I was sitting outside and I was going, if you're so big and tough, why don't you fuck with me instead of messing with my boyfriend? You leave him alone. You leave this family alone. If you're so big, brave, and why don't you come mess with me? And as soon as I said that, I'm not even kidding you. As soon as I freaking said that, I felt like goosebumps. Like I felt a really huge chill. And this wasn't even when it was cold. This is when it was like warm. And I just felt a freezing chill. And so knowing what it meant, I screamed. And then as soon as I finished screaming, I felt like hands around my throat and they were freezing and I just felt like I couldn't breathe anymore. So this thing was like choking me out. And I remember hearing my boyfriend scream at it to stop. And I felt extremely mad. Like, I was actually possessed. And I'm not even bullshitting at all. Like, I know that YouTubers will be like, yeah, I was possessed, man. But it was like clickbait. I'm not clickbaiting. I swear. Like, I'm not. Okay. So what happened was, I was talking to my boyfriend. I was like, wow, that was crazy. Like, I can breathe. I'm fine. But then I just felt cold again. But it felt like my insides were cold too. Like I can't explain that very well, but you know how like when it's really cold and it's only the outside of you that is really cold, but then you put a jacket on and you're A-okay? It was to the point where like my bones were cold. And you don't even know how to explain that, but I was just cold all the way through. Like I was shivering, I was shaking. And my boyfriend and his sister had to take both of their jackets off and put it on me, and I was still freezing, even though I was wearing my own jacket. It was like, bruh. And it wasn't even like, well, then again, it wasn't like jackets that you wear when it's cold. It was more like jackets that you wear for decoration because it was like getting to the point where it was like spring, but still, it was cold, man. It was like, that's how I felt. And I started talking to my boyfriend, and I started telling him that I didn't love him, which isn't true. Well, it wasn't at the time, but I was like, she doesn't love you anymore. Like, I wasn't even saying my own self. I was actually saying she. But it wasn't even me that was talking, if that makes sense. Like, I could see myself saying it. And I could hear myself saying it. But I wasn't saying it. And it wasn't even my voice. It sounded more like, she doesn't love you. She doesn't love you. And it was just like, yeah. My boyfriend he just hugged me the whole time, and I'm just growling. Like, I'm literally just going like, Like, that's literally what I sounded like, but more terrifying. It was legit just, like, growling and, like, snarling and I just kept saying, no, no, because he had a cross necklace, and he hugged me, and he just held me there, and he started praying, and I screamed because it burned whenever he prayed. I remember when he prayed, it felt like a hot pan just being held at my skin. But it was comforting at the same time because I had my boyfriend hugging me, but he was like hugging me, he was praying me, what? He was holding me, he was hugging me, he was praying for me, and I just remember it hurting when he prayed. Like, it felt like burning, like we said, but it was just like painful. Excuse me. And it was like terrifying though. Like, so long story short, I got it out of me, and I remember a whole bunch of other stuff happened, but I don't really want to say what else happened simply because of the fact that I can't even say it without looking around or fiddling with my chapstick, simply because of the fact that it was terrifying and I'm close to tears just remembering it, and I'm starting to feel anxiety even though I have no idea what I would be nervous about. I feel an anxiety attack coming on, so that's a little alarming to me. So I feel like I should stop. So yeah. But I will say though that when I got home, I think something followed me, because it was to the point where I couldn't sleep without waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I remember the night after I came home and everything, it was a school night, so I remember that I was in bed early, but I remember sitting up and staring at my closet, but I was like sleepwalking, if that makes sense. Like, I woke up doing the action. Like, I had a dream that, I remember this dream as clear as day. I was looking inside my closet, and there was like a 30-year-old woman, but I saw her as a little girl. Like, I knew she was in her 30s, but I saw her as a little girl, like my little brother's age. And I remember she was crying, and I was like motioning to my bed. I was like, come on, it's okay. Like, trying to comfort her. And she's just like, I'm scared. And I'm like, it's okay. And I woke up saying it's okay and like moving my hand. That scared me. It was my chapstick that fell out of my hand, but it still scared me. But when I woke up to realize what I was doing, I heard this. Fast, repetitive knocking on my closet door, like on the inside. I obviously did not want to sleep in my own room anymore. I got up and I slept with my grandmother for the rest of the night because, oh my gosh. And I remember praying on my way to my grandmother's room. And as I was praying, I swear, I heard a faint no in my room. Like, as I was walking out and I was going, Dear Jesus, I heard no. I was like, bro, like, what? Even now, as I'm repeating this, my body is getting really stiff. That's how scared I am. My body is getting really stiff. I'm even shaking a little bit. Then I came back to school, and I felt like everybody was mad at me for some reason. Like, literally, even people who I didn't even know. I just was like, they're mad at me. They don't like me. Like, I just felt very depressed that day. I was so depressed that I would just start crying, and I had no idea why. And it was bad. Like, I have no idea what happened. I don't know if something followed me from that night, but I asked my ex-boyfriend if he's still having experiences over there, and he said no. Like, so they did something that chased it away. I think they got a priest. But I still have experiences sometimes. Not all of the time, but I think since I started going to church more and I started to pray and everything like that, I feel like I'm a little bit better. And these pictures that I'm staring at are not helping, but I thought, I needed a theme. So, and my camera's not working, so you had to have something to look at. It's probably a good thing I look like shit anyway. But, basically, thank God this is where the story ends for right now. The only other terrifying thing, other than the whole I prayed and somebody said no, was I was listening to the, I think it was New Kid on the Block, but, they were singing like, I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say that I want it that way. Well, I was in the shower and I was singing that with the music, obviously, but I heard another voice other than myself and the music. So I got out of the shower and I paused it, and I swear I could hear a little girl singing with me. Like I heard a little voice, I want it that way. But it was gone as fast as it came. And I went back into my room after I was done with my shower, and I tried singing it again, but nothing happened. And then my brother told me that he had a dream that he saw a little girl in a car with us. Like we were all going to the pool or something. We had my dad, my stepmom, me and him, and then a little girl sitting in the front. Like sitting next to, in between us. And she was saying something about her mommy and daddy. And then the New Kids on the Block came on, and oh my gosh, if this actually happened to a little girl, I can't imagine. But basically we were singing that song, and our car hit another car head on, killing the little girl and injuring my brother. And I, Dad, and Brandy got out safe. And I have not seen her. I have not heard it. I have not heard from her. I have not dreamt about her ever since. And I have not had any other paranormal stuff happen to me other than me telling this to you and getting really stiff and uneasy and feeling like I should open my door so that I have an easy exit if something happens. But yeah. Alright, that concludes this video. Stay safe. And I guess what I learned from the story is do not motivate anything. And because I think that's where I messed up. I think if I wouldn't have said like, oh, come get me, even if you are really mad at it, do not do that, because they will take it seriously. They will take it to the next extreme. Demons know everything about you, just as well as God and the angels and Jesus. They know everything about you. They were with you through, your conception. They've been with you since conception. God gave you a guardian angel, but unfortunately, your demons, they are depression, they are anxiety, they are basically, everybody has demons, but sometimes they don't just hide in your head. sometimes they're always there and you just can't see them. But the only way for them to get your attention is through your head. Don't buy into their schemes, okay? Go to church, read your Bible, pray every night and every morning that you wake up. Go to church every Sunday or Wednesday or any day that you can. They hate religion. Their goal is to take people to hell with them. Do not let them accomplish that goal. Because when the day comes, God will win. God already did win. So they're mad. The demons are mad. They know that they're going to lose. So they're trying to get as many people as they possibly can so that they at least have a fair fight. Do not let them win. Okay? Whether you're a Christian or a Catholic or if you don't believe a word I'm saying, please, if you value your life, if you value your mentality, if you value not going to hell, please repent. I really hate shoving my religion down your throat, but still, if you don't want to follow the Bible or anything like that, that's fine, but just don't mess with it. Don't mess with the bad things. Don't mess with it.